Welcome to the read aloud of Charlie Chaplin. In the early 1900s, movie theaters across America rocked with laughter. It was all because of a funny little guy on the big screen. His pants and shoes were too large. His hat and coat were too small. He walked in an oddball way with both feet turned outward. And when his eyes grew big, he twitched his little mustache. The audience couldn't wait to see what trouble he would get into next. The scene character was called the Little Tramp. Charlie Chaplin was the actor behind the mustache. He invented the Little Tramp. Charlie also wrote, starred, and directed his own movies. The Little Tramp was always broken out of work, but Charlie himself was the highest paid actor in the world and the most famous. He managed all that without saying a word on screen. This was the age of silent films. No sound came from the screen. Inventors hadn't yet found a way to record sound for films. Instead, actors used gestures and facial expressions to act out the story as in a game of charades. There was none better at this than Charlie Chaplin. Although his real life was filled with humor, Charlie's real life was not. His poor London childhood had been heartbreaking. His father deserted the family, and his mother couldn't care for her own children because of mental breakdown. Yet history remembers Charlie with a smile. He was a pioneer in film who tickled America's funny bone. America was where Charlie Chaplin became famous, but England was his first home. Charles Spencer Chaplin was born in London on April 16, 1889. His half-brother Sidney was 4 years older. It's not surprising that Charlie grew up to be an actor. Both of his parents were entertainers. They performed in English music halls, theaters that staged shows featuring many songs and dances as well as comedy routines. His father was a successful actor and songwriter. His mother was a singer. Charles Chaplin, sir, was easygoing and charming, but he had a bad drinking problem. No one could rely on him for long. When Charlie was just one, his father packed up his songs and left. When Charlie's mother Hannah did the best she could on her own. She was small, delicate, with hair so long she could sit on it. Though she faced life with spirit, jobs came and went, and money was still money was often tight. Music halls hosted live shows with a dazzling variety of acts. Acrobats flew through the air. Ventriloquists spoke through dummies. Singers and dancers performed. There were high-wire walkers, animal trainers, and plate spinners. Most popular of all were the comedy acts. In the United States, music halls were known as vaudeville theaters. The biggest days for vaudeville were the early 1900s. Once movies became popular, music halls and vaudeville gradually faded into history. Still, the little household was happy for a while. Hannah taught Charlie to dance almost as soon as he could stand. To entertain her sons, Hannah pulled costumes and wigs from her trunk and acted out plays that she knew by heart. One night, Hannah's singing career came to a sudden end. Her voice cracked in the middle of a song. The crowd hissed and booed Hannah off the stage. The frantic manager pushed little Charlie on stage in her place. Charlie was just 5, but he had been watching from backstage for years. He knew all the numbers by heart. As the small boy began to sing and dance, the crowd grew silent. Soon they were laughing and cheering. They then threw pennies onto the stage. Charlie stopped in the middle of the song to scoot around and pick up the money. The crowd laughed even harder. Charlie was a hit. However, Hannah's career was over. She never sang again. That night was my first appearance on the stage, Charlie later wrote, and my mother's last. The family began sinking deeper and deeper into poverty. Hannah earned a little money sewing, but not enough to pay the bill. She tore up her old costumes to make clothes for her sons. Often short of rent money, the Chaplins were forced to move again and again. They started out in a 3-room apartment, then they moved into 2 rooms. Finally, they crowded into 1 room behind a smelly pickle factory. In time, Hannah was too weak and ill to go on. She led her sons to the workhouse. That was where poor people ended up in London when there was no place else to go. The little family was split apart. Hannah Hannah was put in an infirmary, a place for people too sick to earn their keep in the workhouse. Charlie and Cindy were taken to school for homeless children called Hanwell. Charlie clung tightly to his older brother, but Cindy had to stay in a ward with older boys. Charlie said that his childhood ended right there when he was 7. During Charlie's childhood, poor people who couldn't pay their bills were sent to a workhouse. There they worked for rooms and meals, if they were able. Families were split up and only met briefly, once a day. Everyone wore uniforms, slept in long dorms, and ate on benches in large dining halls. No one wanted to end up in the workhouse. Yet it probably saved many from starving on the street. Teachers at Hanwell were strict. They used a cane to punish children. One time Charlie was caned for not telling on some boys who had pulled a prank. His knuckles were wrapped because he wrote left-handed. When his head was shaved because of ringworm, Charlie broke down and Daydreaming was Charlie's great. Wait. Broke down and wept. Daydreaming was Charlie's great escape. In his autobiography, Charlie recalled creeping off by myself at the poorhouse, pretending I was a very rich and grand person. More than anything, the little boy wanted to escape poverty. In time, acting would become Charlie's ticket out of the slums, and he was soon to get his first job.